Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. I'm Mike Good of Togetherness, and I'll be your host today. Welcome to the Togetherness Empowerment class, where I provide training to empower you to fight back against dementia. These classes are interactive, so let's get things started by having you type into the chat on the right-hand side of the screen and let us know where you're from and what your role is with dementia. Are you a family member, a friend, or a professional? And please don't be shy, because your interaction helps reduce my anxiety, because I know you're there and technology is working. I am so excited about today to have so many people from around the world joining us. We have over 165 registrants for this webinar today. And I'm broadcasting from San Diego County in Southern California, and our guest today, Mary Sue Wilkinson of Singing Heart to Heart, is from Michigan, if I said that right. Hi, Mary Sue.
Hey, it's good to see everybody. Wait, I can't see you, but you can see me. Hey, everybody.
It is weird. It is always odd to not, but I see the chat filling up, so that makes me feel really good there. And I hope everyone downloaded Mary Sue's free song list guide that she created specifically for you as a registrant of this class. If not, you can check the 4-hour reminder email that you received 4 hours ago. Mary Sue is going to share strategies and techniques to help you have more successful outcomes when using music in the care you provide. Mary Sue Wilkinson is the founder of Singing Heart to Heart and the Young at Heart music program. She specializes in using music in dementia care, and each year she leads close to 400 music and singing experiences for seniors. She is a career educator, a professional musician, and author of Songs You Know by Heart, a simple guide to using music in dementia care. And also, leading dementia care specialist Teepa Snow contributed to and has endorsed the book, which includes Mary Sue's recordings of 18 familiar sing-along songs. Works as a trainer and as a keynote speaker, sharing her expertise about the power of music to connect, awaken memories, and bring joy. In addition to her book, her CD, Songs You Know by Heart, and her ebook, Finding Memories Through Music, a family interview, as well as many other valuable resources, are available on her website, Singing Heart to Heart. And you should have seen links to that in your welcome email and some of the reminder emails. Be sure to check them out. They're really good resources. As mentioned, Mary Sue lives in Traverse City, Michigan, and has one son and daughter-in-law. Singing with seniors, Mary Sue still occasionally finds time to sing with young children, and her Americana dual, Drive South. Welcome, Mary Sue.
Hey, thanks. It's so great to be here.
I've got to make sure I listen to some of that Drive South music. I just
that's
saw it on your
good
Facebook
stuff.
page.
That's good stuff. All right. You ready for me to take it away?
Absolutely.
All right. Here we go. Well, hey, I'm so happy to be here. I've really been looking forward to this. Mike and I have had a great connection developing, and I would encourage you, if you haven't already, keep using him as a resource. He's a great resource. And right up front, I want to tell you, we're going to cover a lot today. And I welcome you to keep in touch after the webinar, because I know you may come up with questions, and please don't hesitate to go to my Facebook page, which is Young at Heart Music, or my website. Email me. You can contact me directly, and I'll answer you, because I am a real person out here in my house in Traverse City. So now we are truly connected. So this is a how-to training, right? And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the brain and research and all of that. But before we launch into the how-to portion of the program, I just want to go through real quickly again 5 reasons why I think it's so important that we use music in care. And then we'll launch into the nuts and bolts of it. So first and foremost, music really can help you connect. People with dementia are losing their connection with you, and you're losing your connection with them. And through music, you can sustain that relationship, which is really valuable. The second thing I would say is that singing helps people remember happier times. It's like an emotional pathway to connect people to their history and to their identity. So it can really help awaken memories. Singing together also helps create a sense of belonging and comfort, which can be very, very valuable. And the right music can really lift our spirits. We all know that. I like to say that before there was Prozac, there was music, right? And finally, music can help alleviate boredom. And that's a huge problem for people living with dementia. They're not often able to do many of the things they used to enjoy doing. And so through music, we can give a meaningful activity and something that care partners and care receivers can do together. So that's just a little refresher on 5 of the reasons that I think it's really important to use music in care. And let's talk for just a minute now about what we're going to cover tonight, okay? First of all, we're going to talk about how to choose songs and how to choose the right music so that you really do have that connection and that awakening happen. And then we're going to talk about how encouraging and supporting active engagement can take you from entertainment, which is not bad, to engagement, which will then really help with the alleviating of boredom. We're going to talk about using movement with music because that's a really valuable way, in my opinion, to decrease restlessness and some of the anxiety and the stress that can come along with having your capacity to move be diminished by the disease. Then we're going to talk about how using music can ease caregiving for daily activities. So we'll get into a little bit of that and how you can use music for cues and so forth. And then at the end, I want to take a few minutes to respond to some of the comments that came in through the survey that Mike did, where some of you shared your challenges that you may be having or are worried about in terms of using music. So that's kind of our agenda for today. And we're going to launch in now. We're going to talk about choosing music. And what I would tell you is that it is important. And so I'm glad that so many of you are concerned about this because it really is key. If you put me in a room and wanted to engage with me through opera, it probably wouldn't work. All right. So first and foremost, you want to find the genre or genres that someone that you're singing with or someone that you're working with or your family member enjoys. Now, if you're a family member, you've got a little head start on this, no doubt, because you probably have an idea of what kind of music they like. But for those of you that are working with people that you're not familiar with or in care settings, it can be more challenging. So you need to do anything you can to get that information. And Mike mentioned the ebook that I wrote, Finding Memories Through Music, a family interview. You can get that for free on my website. You just share your email and it'll automatically go to you. And by the way, don't worry, I'm not going to start spamming you with a bunch of emails just because you've given me your email. But personal preferences really do matter. So are they country music lovers? Do they like show tunes? Are they classical music lovers? So you try to get that information as best you can, and you may have to do it through trial and error. And then the next thing that's really important is how old are they? And what are the songs of their youth? Because it's the songs of our youth that are really stored away in the right side of our brain. I'm totally simplifying this, as I'm sure you know, in a special part of the brain where emotion is linked to memory. And it's the songs of our youth that can trigger the awakening, the happiness, the connection. So count back through the decades and find music that was popular when they were teens, when they were in their 20s, maybe in their early 30s. And that's why I created those song lists the way I did by decades, because if you know nothing else, you can pretty much, I'm sure you can find out how old someone is. So use the song lists like that. And by the way, there are lots more song lists, country songs and funny songs and things like that in the resource library on my website. So look at that. I always tell people to think about starting with some patriotic songs. People of the older generation are very patriotic. That's kind of a way in, a way to get started. Funny songs, I sing Old Gray Mare a lot, and I always point to my gray hair, and we laugh, and so we sing the Old Gray Mare. Songs that people sang on their front porch are a great way to start. Old MacDonald, just today at the place where I was singing, they wanted to hear Old MacDonald, and Mel said, I haven't heard that in a long time. And we laugh when we find the animals. So genre, count back through the decades, think about songs of faith. And now here's where you really need to know your audience. You obviously want to know your audience as much as you can anyway, but especially if you're thinking of using songs of faith, you want to know, you don't want to be singing Christian Southern gospel songs in a Jewish residence, right? So know your audience if you can. But songs of faith are often a very powerful way to reach the emotion and to reach into the soul of someone that you're trying to connect with. As I mentioned, if you can interview families, it's really ideal. If you can't, and you've got the decades and you can try to get a sense of the genres, the next thing you need to do is really be a good observer. And I'll tell you about Gloria here to sort of illustrate this. Gloria lived in a home that where I sang every week, and I had no way to contact her family or to find out what kind of music that she liked. I had no way, the staff didn't know. But through watching her carefully as we sang, I learned there were two songs that always elicited a strong response from her. And one of them was You Are My Sunshine, which is not too surprising, that can often be the case. And the way I knew was she would start rocking back and forward in her wheelchair, just moving to the music. And I would see her mouth move and she would just say, sunshine. And she would just get a word here or there. The other one, which kind of surprised me, but that was great, that we sang every week because I found out it was her song, was Home on the Range. And she would do the same thing, and I would see her mouth the word range. Her son came to visit towards the end of her life, and I had a chance to ask him and just say, were these songs that you sang? And he said, yeah, they sure were. Home on the Range and You Are My Sunshine. So sometimes all you can do is really be a good observer. And as I know Susan talks about this, Mike probably does too, and I know Teepa talks about it, be a good dementia detective. And you can be a good dementia music detective also. One thing I want to mention in this little segment is about using song sheets. You may be surprised. I have a woman who is in hospice care and very near the end of her life. And her language is very diminished, and yet she can still read large print, bold song sheets. And it helps make her feel competent, and she enjoys that. And so I use that with her because I'm working with her one-to-one. In a group setting, I probably, in the home where she lives, I don't do that because finding pages and so forth is challenging. But some of you have asked about lyrics. There are lyrics to many of the songs that are on my CD, on my website, but there are some that are not, and they are there with links to a lyrics website like Lyrics Freak or Metro Lyrics, things like that. And just so you know, there's a little thing called copyright, and you probably have heard that word. And with songs that are in the public domain, and I believe it's songs that are older than 1927, you're free to print those, copy those, do anything you want with those. If it's a song after that, you can use it for your personal use. So I wouldn't discourage you from making song sheets to use in the homes where you work, but it's not something you can market and sell and so forth. So just kind of be aware of that. So if you do a little homework, find out the genres, count back through the decades. I'll always try to get as much information as you can, some trial and error, and then be a really good observer. And I think you'll find, and then take some notes, you'll find what are those songs that will do the best at connecting and reaching the people. And I think, like me, you'll probably be surprised. There'll be times when I'll see somebody that I've never heard sing before, and I've just stumbled onto the song. It's almost like they were waiting for me to sing that, and then they join in. So that's my best advice on that, but please use the resources on the website. I think that will help you take that even farther. Okay, next we're going to talk about how we can encourage and support active involvement. And this is where we're going to go from entertainment to engagement. And entertainment is fine. We all enjoy that. But when we want to connect with someone and we want to help alleviate boredom, we really are hoping for engagement. And the first thing that I would suggest is have a song cue. Everywhere I go, I've just chosen this one. You could choose a different song. But when I start my singing sessions, the first thing I do is sing, "Hail, hail, the gang's all here." And just about everybody knows that. And it's also something that hopefully you know and maybe have heard before. So it's not threatening or scary to sing that. And it's a cue that we're going to start the music. So if you can cue people and give them a song to kind of hang their hat on, they'll get started with you. Getting started is actually kind of often the hardest part. So this is where your enthusiasm, your body language, your smile, your thumbs up, all those things are going to be really, really important. People with dementia get more information from visual cues than from language. As the disease progresses, they may be getting every third or fourth word that you're telling them. So going into a long explanation like I am right now and saying, now we're going to sing, and like, don't you want to sing with me? And how would you like to sing today? It's not going to work. What you want to do is keep it really simple, and don't ask for permission. That doesn't mean to just go charging in and grab somebody, but don't ask permission. Don't say, do you want to sing today? 9 times out of 10, if you do that, people are going to say no, or they're going to give you, they're going to rear back in their chair. Just be enthusiastic and say, let's sing, or how about we sing Old MacDonald? And then you start, and your participation is what is going to bring them along. And I mentioned earlier, starting with the power of patriotic songs. I always start with Hail, Hail, the gang's all here. And I very often sing God Bless America early on, because the older folks that I sing with anyway, here in Traverse City, I would say they almost feel compelled to sing that. It's like standing up for the national anthem. We don't sing the national anthem because that's really a hard song to sing. But God Bless America is a good second, and they are compelled to sing, so they will sing, and then they're started. You've got them started, and it's much easier after they're started. The other thing that helps people get started is adding some movement. And I'm going to share one of my favorite little movement songs in a minute here, but that will oftentimes, there's a physical response to the music, and so you're engaging their whole body, and that oftentimes will help get people going as you get started. So again, you're going to need to observe and honor personal preferences. So if you're trying to get engagement and higher participation, it's important you have the right music. Today, as I mentioned, I was singing in the home where Mel lives, and this is the only, I go to many, many, many places. This is the only place I go where they seem to really love country music. And I have to sing Country Roads at least twice every day that I'm there. So that's the only place that I really do Patsy Cline and Johnny Cash, and oftentimes I pull out my little wireless speaker and we'll look up the original versions of songs. So knowing that personal preference, that wouldn't work at many of the other places that I play. One last little thing about this, to get participation, don't be afraid of repetition. Repetition with people who are living with memory loss is helpful. It might be boring to you. It's not to them. It helps them feel competent and comfortable. And when you feel competent and comfortable, you're much more likely to take that risk and engage. So that's the main tips I would say about how to get the best support active involvement. It's a good idea to make a little plan ahead of time if you're planning a short music session, and then make some notes if you can. I oftentimes use my iPhone and do voice memos after a session because I don't have time to write things down, and you probably don't either. And I just turn on voice memo and I go, Country Roads really worked today at French Manor or wherever I happen to be. So use the tools that are, available to you, all of our good technology. So
Mary Sue, you got me chuckling over here because I don't know, maybe it was my growing up in Arkansas, but that country roads, I'm going to have to go YouTube watch it now after this and on that, because now I can't get it out of my mind.
So the next thing I want to talk about is how we can decrease restlessness and promote some health by using some simple movement with music. I often see a lot of energy expended trying to get people to sit still. And I guess I've heard Susan, I believe, on one of your webinars, Mike, talking about this. How long could you sit still with nothing to do? And I think we kind of forget that. So our bodies are naturally wired to respond to music, and it's going to happen. And I'll tell you the story of a lady the other day. She was agitated. First of all, she looked like somebody who had been probably pretty physically active. Now, she was in a wheelchair now, but she looked like she had been an active person. And she was agitated, and they were actually going to remove her. And I was just getting started, and I said, oh, no, please don't do that. Let's bring her up front. So they brought her up to the front, closer to me, and I put on some really lively music, and we started patting our knees and stomping and doing things like that, and problem solved, except the staff, and this is not a criticism of the staff because they have a responsibility that I don't have, and they were concerned about her safety, and so they were just beginning to worry that she was going to tip out of her wheelchair, I think. So they put the footrests down and put her feet up on that, and that kind of frustrated her. And so she started moving with her upper body, and she was, clapping and patting and so forth. And again, they got a little concerned that she was going to tip out, so they gave her a baby doll to hold. And you could see that, like you could just watch her face like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do now? Well, it didn't stop her. She started clicking her tongue.
Oh, wow.
It was like there was not going to be stopping this woman responding to the rhythm of that song. And so I would just say to you, you can add the simplest of movements, patting, swaying. And I'll show you, if you're sitting at home, this is so funny to be looking at my farm scene and doing this instead of watching myself. But okay.
Well, I unmuted my microphone so that you can at least hear me make noises every now and then.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that I don't feel like I'm just out here, in Traverse City, Michigan. Anyway.
But just like in dementia-care, we're adjusting on the go here.
Exactly. We're the only ones that can change, right? So one of the songs that I do almost every single time that I sing is My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean, okay? And it's so simple to add movement to this, and virtually anybody can do it. And I just say, we're going to be the waves. And I don't know if you can see my arms, but we just start singing. Can you see my arms, Mike?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. Are you doing it at home? Because you've been sitting a little while too, right? It's in the evening and you might be starting to go to sleep on me. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. Oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. And then I say, watch me do this. Notice how short those directions are. And I exaggerate my movements, and you put your arms out. Bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie. Got the idea of how it works? Okay, and that song is a great one because the words are so simple that it's not hard to do. It goes on because there's 3 verses, and it's very simple movements. And I've even seen places where I'll forget. I use my little wireless speaker again, then that's one song that's on my CD. And so I play myself on the CD so I can lead the movements. But even when I forget and I just use my guitar, there are lots of places where people will start doing the movements. So I would encourage you to do that. And there is a free download of that song. Even if you don't buy the book, you don't buy the CD, nothing else, and you want that song, you can go to my website and get a free download of it. And there's a little video of some of the ladies that I sing with doing that. So when you're using movement, remember visual cues, and you want to exaggerate your movements. And you want to move around the room. This is something I think I kind of forgot to talk about with participation and engagement. But making eye contact is really important. If you're singing with someone in your home or a one-to-one situation, first of all, sit on their dominant side. So if they're right-handed, you want to sit on their right-hand side because they're going to hear a little better through that side. But you don't want to sit exactly side by side to them. You want to sit so that they can see you, okay? But on their dominant side. And then you've really got to make the eye contact. And if you're in a group setting and you're leading singing or an activity, you're going to be moving around. Chances are you're going to be going down like this and looking up to try to catch someone's eye, and just making sure that you're moving and keeping eye contact around the room, and lots of thumbs up. Thumbs up, even better than good job, because it's a visual cue that they can see and they understand. Okay. So once people start moving to music, they often will keep moving. So that's why I like to do it a little earlier, and we just make stuff up. And if you don't be worried that they're not doing exactly what you're doing. As long as they're moving, it's okay. And if they start doing a different movement, I oftentimes will go, oh, look, and then I start doing what they're doing. So that's some tips on using movement. And in the book, there's a lot more suggestions about movement, but that'll get you started. Okay.
That's really some great suggestions. And I know you can't see the chat, Mary Sue.
I'm trying to figure out what I could do to refresh or something.
Just don't touch any buttons at this point.
Okay.
Because
right.
it's all good. And I've learned from experience, you touch the wrong button and it won't be a good thing. So
okay.
Anyway, we got some good comments over here. We got people talking about using musical instruments, the importance of movement in it. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of listening to you more than looking at the chat, which means you're giving some good advice, keeping me engaged there. So
yeah, I didn't plan to talk about using instruments tonight or props, but I highly recommend that. I use little shaky eggs a lot. You can get them from Oriental Trading. I also use little chiffon scarves. I use straws for batons. That can be really fun. So, all right, I'm going to move on and talk about activities of daily living and how you can use familiar songs with that. And there are two main points here about why music will help in activities of daily living. And some of you said, how can I get my staff to do this? If you can get your staff to understand that this will make their job easier, then I think, obviously they may be more motivated to do it. The first thing I would say is that music can help communicate safety and goodwill. Now, people may not remember who you are from day to day, but they will remember how you made them feel. And so if you come in singing to someone's room, and say you have to do a bath or a shower, and they don't know who you are, and you want them to take their clothes off. Seriously, I wouldn't do that. And I'd probably be fighting back, which is a totally natural human response, right? If someone arrives singing, especially if it's a song they've figured out that I know and like, if they arrive singing, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine," with a smile, and they take even a minute to sing, maybe 2 minutes, to sing that song or a chorus of that song, it's going to change the mood in the room and give you a greater chance of having an easier time. So let the music communicate that you are a safe person, and that you have goodwill, and that you care, and that you like them, and you're smiling and singing. People that are smiling and singing are probably not going to hurt you, right? That just doesn't go together. The other thing is that use it as a cue. So if you can choose a few songs, I call this keep a song in your back pocket. And this would be how I would suggest if you're training staff. Keep a song in your back pocket. Have that be your motto. Keep a song in your back pocket. You could choose 2 or 3 songs. And if you can get your staff to learn 2 or 3 songs that they keep in their back pocket, either on their phone or using their voice, I think you'll get started on creating this culture of music being supportive and care. So how would we do that? So one song I would suggest, perhaps you want a song for the morning, for waking up. Maybe you use "You Are My Sunshine." That's one that a lot of people know. maybe you need to motivate someone, create a little energy or distract. Try, take me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd, and use your body again to create some visual cues, and they'll sing with you. I promise you they will. If you need to soothe someone that's agitated, try something like, let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. So do you hear how all three of those songs have a different energy and a different pace, and they communicate something different? Even if you weren't hearing or understanding the words at all, they represent different things, so you can use them as cues for different things. I want to tell you about Evelyn, because she was a great example of how music can upset and how music can soothe. I was singing at this place. I'd sung there a lot. I knew Evelyn was a school teacher, and boy, she was like that strict school teacher. She would wheel up to me in her wheelchair and she would say, well, now, how long are you going to be singing today? And if it went a little long, she'd go, I think that you should wrap it up. I think one more. And she was usually right. It was so funny. And she had told me that her husband was in a band and played, really liked Elvis and all this. So I knew a little bit about her, and it was a big group. And I had used the song, I want a girl just like the girl that married dear old dad. And that's a common one that older folks know. And there's a parody, I want a beer just like the beer that pickled dear old dad. And I'd done that a lot at a lot of different places, and it always got a laugh, which I'm always trying to find a funny song, something for a laugh. So I launched into that, and Evelyn, I mean, seriously, she went ballistic. She started shouting at me and saying, that's not music, and I'm a Christian, and you stop that. And she wasn't stopping. And of course I stopped, and I apologized, and I tried to just move on to a different song, anything. And she wasn't having it. She was so agitated. And so I started singing the Irish lullaby, which just goes, toora, lura, toora, lura, toora, lura. That's the Irish lullaby. And I watched Evelyn, and one time through like that wasn't enough. But she had her shoulders up, she'd been so angry, and I watched her, and her shoulders started dropping, and it was almost, she could not stop herself from relaxing, and pretty soon she was singing with me, and we'd moved through that moment. And I thought of how many times I see staff, and please, if you're a staff member, know that I have the greatest respect for what you do, because I don't have to do what you do. And so this is not at all a criticism. But there have been times where you see staff and they're butting up against somebody who's agitated like that. And if only they could try, and it might not work every time, but try to use a soothing piece of music like that and just stop and move with the music. So anyway, those songs that I just sang, now the Irish lullaby is not on my CD, but the others are. I would encourage you to use your voice. I really believe everybody can sing. Nobody's judging you. But if you really feel like you can't, you can find those songs on there.
So Mary Sue,
yes.
Mary Sue, I have to let you know we're still here.
Yes, thank you. I'm talking to the woods here.
New request for you, though, is before each of my webinars like this, I want you to come on and sing that to me, because I did instantly feel soothed. I felt calm. A calmness came over me. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, why wasn't she singing that before the show in the green room?
Probably because I was nervous too.
But that's just wonderful. I just wanted to share with you that some of the comments, somebody actually has a singing bird at one of the communities they go to, and the bird actually sings with the bird and all, and it's a real live bird, which is really cool. That's great. And Doug has learned that his group likes to clap. Yes. And while he thought he wasn't there trying to entertain him, he accepted it because it's actually, they're getting some exercise, and now they always clap at the end of their songs. Absolutely. Good point, Doug. Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm going to switch back to you. Okay. All right.
I think, that really, we've kind of covered the main things that we laid out that we were going to talk about tonight. And I know I've gone quickly and just, it's a lot, but I want to just take a minute to review some of the things that people brought up in the challenges that they shared with you in the survey, Mike. And one of them was, and I've mentioned it a little bit, but how to get staff to do it. And boy, I wish I had just a magic pill I could give to every staff so they would understand this. But, the main thing is if we can communicate as leaders how this is going to make their jobs easier. We all hope to find ways to make our job easier, not because we're lazy, but because we want to do a better job. And I hear over and over from staff, people are in a better mood after you've been here. And this isn't just because it's me. This is because it's the music. And people are in a better mood. And happier people are easier to care for. I think that's something that most staff could understand. And so I would just encourage, if you can get your staff to think about it like keep a song in your back pocket. Take that little, keep a song in your back pocket, and don't expect them to learn every old song from the 40s and 30s or 50s or 60s. If you have young staff, that's going to be hard for them. That takes a while. But if they could learn 3 songs and know what to do with each song. So 1 song's for soothing, 1 song's for distracting, and 1 song is just for happiness or for fun. Well, if you could start with 2 or 3 songs to keep in their back pocket or on their phone, let them have a little playlist, I think that would be my advice. And if there's any way you can make it fun and silly as a staff, so you get that team thing going amongst your staff that, hey, where we work, we use music, and we all sing in the break room, take me out to the ball game, and that it's, that you get support for that. So I would encourage, try that, make it fun. You can plan music sessions, keeping them really short. Don't set yourself up for planning a 45-minute music session when you get started with this. Plan 10 minutes. That's fine. 3 songs. Use recorded music. Use YouTube. Play 3 Frank Sinatra songs in a row. They'll just come up on YouTube anyway, if once you go into an artist like that. So make it simple for yourself and then see how it goes. Use the song guides that are on the website. And I would just say give it a try. There's really not any way that you can go wrong with this, short of strapping headphones on somebody and playing all sad music, which you're not going to do. So,
and I'm happy, Mary Sue, that you kind of mentioned that, because I always like to bring up, and we know, music is so much more powerful than just that for somebody, and I do, and people have probably heard me say this, but I do know a lady who meant the best for her husband and had somebody download a bunch of songs to an iPad, started having behavioral issues, and she didn't realize that it was because of the music.
Yeah.
And so because music, we can play both emotions or all kinds of emotions. A song can make me happy one day, but tomorrow that same song might make me sad if I take it the wrong way. So I always like to mention that.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly the same song, You Are My Sunshine, most of the time makes people happy, but you'll get tears. And one of the things that Teepa actually said to me and asked me to add to the book, which I did, she said, I'd like you to tell people, don't be afraid of sadness, because music can help people express their emotions when they've lost the language to do it. It can help release those emotions. Now, you don't want to leave them in that place, but you can acknowledge that and just say, that's a really strong memory, or aren't you glad that you had such a wonderful husband that you loved? And then you move on. But absolutely the same song. And, some people, I've known people where they'll play music all the time in the room. If that were me, that would make me really uncomfortable. My ears need a break. So you've got to kind of find out what works for the people that you're caring for, and not assume that the way you would like it is the way they would like it. So,
And kind of on that line, Mary Sue, I got a question from Gail in the audience asking, going back to the lady who you said she was a Christian, why didn't you sing a hymn?
Oh, well, it would have been a great idea. I was probably flying by the seat of my pants.
Right.
And, you know, but absolutely, yeah, that would have been a great, especially if it had been a soothing one, you know, like softly and tenderly, or even Jesus Loves Me would have worked.
Right.
The Irish lullaby, it just happened to be what came into my head, and you know, sometimes when you're on the spot, but great point, Gail. Yeah, absolutely.
Got another question, Mary Sue. Sorry.
Yeah, great.
But Victoria's asking, how can I manage this with someone who is very hard of hearing? I don't have a particularly loud voice.
Right. That's a tough one. And I have dealt with that where, especially in a group where you have one person who really has hearing loss and you can't, you know, just stand next to them. That would probably be a good, well, you know, if you can get close, obviously, get on their dominant side, that'll probably help. But you may have better luck with that person doing short sessions with headphones with some recorded music so that they really can hear it. I know that doesn't help with the activities of daily living necessarily, although you might be able to use a little iPod. I don't know, you know, how much liberty you have or what your situation is, but yeah, that's a good question. And that is a challenge for many older adults. So anyway, and even for some of the guys I play music with, because they played in rock and roll bands when they were in college and they blew their ears out. So, all right, I got just a couple little quick things because I see we're about running out of time here. But somebody asked, how do you find the time in the day? And I would say start by adding music to something that you're already doing. Because again, I am not in your role. And I have the luxury of just being the musician that comes in, and I'm really aware that it's different. So if you can add a song to walking across the room or bringing people down to the dining room, if you can sing, I've been working on the railroad, it will help people, you know, it's a march. It helps people get going. Another one is Sentimental Journey. You know, just singing something that suggests the activity. And set a reasonable goal for yourself. Maybe it's that you're going to do 10 minutes. And then I would encourage you to actually sit down with them and share that time. Again, this isn't about just putting the music on, not that that's wrong, but sitting down with them, because, you know, music increases that good hormone, the serotonin, and it decreases the dopamine, which is your stress hormone. And I'm oversimplifying totally. But like you were saying, Mike, when you heard the Irish lullaby, music impacts all of us. This isn't unique. You know, that's why it's so powerful, because it works for everybody. So if you can find a short time and how to hold their interest, you just can't make it too long. And don't give up if they don't engage right away and seem like they're disinterested. Today there was a lady I usually sing for 45 minutes, and it was the last two songs when she finally started singing along. And maybe I'd finally hit the one, or it had just taken that time for her to process. Start small, don't hesitate to repeat. Jump in, Mike.
Sorry, we have a question from Judy, and I'm gonna, you know, I still can't get that Country Road song out of my mind. And if someone asked, nobody that knows me would ever know that country road, take me home, country road.
Yep.
And I can guarantee it was from my mom, and I was probably no older than 10 years old.
Yeah.
But if you started playing that, I'd probably start tapping my foot, and I'd probably start grooving along. And so Judy's asking, how do we figure out what music they like?
Well, again, if you can do the interview with the family and then find the genre, count back through the decades, and then it's really trial and error. It really is. And you know, that family interview that I wrote, I'm going to fill that out for my son. I kid my son all the time, because I'm like, you know, I'm going to want to hear Joni Mitchell and Judy Collins and, you know, James Taylor. I know what I'm going to want to hear, and I'm going to tell him so that he's ready. But it is going to be trial and error. And if you can get to the family, that will really help.
and watch for those cues and
Yes.
see,
Yeah.
because you know, I have a feeling that I think I know what I would like.
Yeah.
Who really knows what it will be? And
Right.
will it
Yeah.
have to be that specific that I would write down? Maybe not, because you've got
Yeah.
me singing along today on songs I would have told you I didn't know the words to.
Sure. Sure. Right. Right. Yeah. That's it. The observation, you know, my background early on in education was with early childhood. And when you work with 3 and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, you don't give them tests. You have to do a lot of observing and just watching for cues. Are they understanding this and whatever? And I really think that in addition to being a professional musician my whole life, so music comes naturally to me, has really, there's a lot of observing. And sometimes it's as small as a finger moving or a toe tapping. You can think they're just totally not listening at all. And then you look down and their toe is moving to the music. So, yeah.
Or even that clicking of the tongue, like you said.
Yeah, the clicking of the tongue. I know. It's going to present in different ways for different people. So, you know, we mentioned just quickly about the iPods. I think the Music and Memory Project is fabulous, and I love that they're doing that with the personalized playlists. I know there's some people, I mean, you can have difficulty with that. They're not easy for the person living with dementia to use. On the Alzheimer's store, they have a music player that I've not bought because I don't need it, but there is a simple to use music player there where you just lift a lever up and the music starts and you push it down. You preload it with songs. I mean, you'd have to download the songs. And if anybody else out there has found something else that's really simple, please type it into the chat, because I'm always looking for that and hoping that people will, you know, help people. Because,
oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That music player you mentioned, I wouldn't expect a person with dementia to figure it out and how to use it, because it looks nothing like a radio. And in fact, I read the study, and it was like people were actually skeptical of it. So,
okay, interesting.
But as we know in dementia care, it's not black and white. What works for one person
may
not work for the next, and from day to day. So,
right, yeah.
But I have identified some neat looking record players.
Yes.
That even have 50s retro stuff.
Yeah.
That actually take MP3 players in the back, and can also spin some vinyl, which I think people would really love. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just share a real quick funny story. Bob James, I don't know if anybody, if those people on the webinar know who he is, but he's a really well-known musician, a Grammy award-winning piano player. And he happens to live here in Traverse City, and his wife is living with Alzheimer's, and she lives at one of the places that I play frequently, and he has done everything to bring music into her world, because she also is a fabulous singer. And he loaded an iPod up with his own music, his own compositions, and she doesn't want that. She wants Al Jolson and all this other stuff. And we were laughing about it one day. He said, I can't believe she doesn't even want to hear my music, you know. And she's known his music for a long time, but it's not the music of her, you know, earlier, younger days. So yeah, it's challenging. So, well, I think I've kind of wrapped up my end of things here. I just, in closing, I just want to remind you that I'm really open to you keeping in touch. You know, I'm just this person out here trying to spread the word that music is a powerful tool, and I hope you'll try it and use it. So if you have a question, shoot it to me. And I also want to say, you don't have to be me to do this. A lot of times when I present, people say, well, why don't you play your guitar, and why don't you sing and more? And I don't do that because I don't want you to think that you have to be a guitar player to do what I do. You just have to want to try to do it. And so I really encourage you to do that. Let's see, what other? Is it time to talk about where are we at with time, Mike? You tell me, or should we start talking about the book and that sort of thing? Or
yeah, we should. And actually, I just realized I was talking to a muted microphone.
Oh.
So I just snuck a link into the chat, that because I have a store I'm creating for Together in This, and I just wanted to, so after this, or people can click on it and go over and check out this some of those record
Oh,
players I was
right,
talking
right.
about. It's not the one Mary Sue mentioned, but it's just kind of cool how these record players have that nostalgic look and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So I have not been reading the chat. So if anybody had a question, I apologize if I missed it. But yeah, that was great, Mary Sue. I really loved to hear. I loved hearing all your tips. I loved hearing the singing. Again, next time you're singing, I'm going to have you sing before we go live.
Yeah, got you covered. Got you covered.
And to you in the audience, just please let us know. In the a lot of people are saying some really nice things, so please don't hesitate and drop in there and let us know in the chat what you think about it. But as mentioned, Mary Sue has her website, Singing Heart to Heart. Did I get that right?
Yep, Singing Heart to Heart, and it's not the number 2.
Yeah.
You have to just spell it all out.
And you're the author of the book that you've mentioned, Songs You Know by Heart: A Simple Guide for Using Music in Dementia Care. Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah,
the book,
yeah, I would love to.
With the audience?
You know, I started writing this book, and actually I thought I was just going to write a little guide to go with the CD, like just a few little tips about each song. And as things do when you're an educator, you know, it kind of ballooned into this. And also, I guess at the same time, I was learning more and more and more about dementia care from Teepa Snow. And so I decided that it really should be this guide just about that. Now, if you work with seniors that don't have dementia, there's still going to be things in this book that are going to be helpful. I really believe that. But so this book, I sent it to Teepa and I said, would you review this? And she was gracious enough to read the whole thing and signed off on it. I was interpreting her work. She's added a whole chapter in it about her gems. And I'm not going to go into that, but if you aren't familiar with Teepa Snow, please go find out about her. She's a fabulous resource. And so she wrote a foreword to it, wrote a chapter on the gems. I talk about the gems in terms of music. There are some what I call music moments in the book that are little stories, kind of like a few that I've shared with you tonight. There's a guide for the CD, so it goes song by song, just with some little tips about maybe movement. There's a whole chapter on adding movement to songs. But this is not a book. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I just realized I was rude to the audience. I popped up the offer to your book so people can see, but it totally obscures all of the chat. So if you still want to see the chat but not see the link, just there's a little red circle at the top. Just hit that little red circle and it'll bring back your chat. So sorry about that, and sorry to interrupt you, Mary.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I really, the last thing I want to say about the book is just, this isn't going to take you a long time to read it. This is a small book. I don't know. I'm staring at a screen here, but it's small. You can pick it up, look at one idea, look at another idea, get going and start. And you don't have to sit down, because I know you don't have a lot of time to sit down and read a big book. It's not theory, it's practical. And if you buy it from me, it comes with this CD in the back. If you buy it on Amazon, where it's available, it comes with a download code. And of course, from me, it also has a download code. So you can just download the music. So I hope that it's meant to be practical and easy to use. So that's my little spiel about the book.
Cool. And you were offering a special for the audience, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So if you go to my website, this won't work on Amazon, but if you go to my website, when you're checking out, there's a place you can insert a discount code. And the code is 28, and that's today's date. So I chose that to help us all remember. So if you enter the code 28, it'll give you a 15% discount. And that's on anything that's for sale on my website. There's a kid's CD, actually. You can buy just the CD by itself. You can buy the book. There's a series of 4 training videos that you can download. They're just quick. It's like $9.95, and you can buy these 4 little training videos that kind of cover some of the same stuff that we talked about tonight. So that discount code is good for a week through October 5th, all right? And then after that, it goes away. So, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I really appreciate you doing that for the Together in this audience. That's just incredible.
Absolutely.
And I think we'll some people came in late, but you will receive a link to the replay within sometime sooner. And I'll put the discount code. I'll talk to Mary Sue about putting the discount code on there for you, but just remember, and a link to the book. There'll be a complete replay page. So just look for that if you were late. We will be together in this. We'll be having another webinar in 1 month, and that may be the final one for the year. I haven't decided yet, and but I've already got starting to line up people for 2017. So that's really exciting. And I'm gonna maybe have to arm wrestle Mary. Maybe I won't have to arm wrestle, but
you're not gonna have to arm wrestle me. No, this was fun.
Back next year, like I started blushing. Wow. And then so that was great. And so if you're not ready for her book, just make sure you visit her site and subscribe and receive her free ebook, because Finding Memories Through Music, a family interview, it's a really great free resource that you can utilize. And also don't forget to visit Together in This, where I can provide you, the caregiver, with tactical how-to information to empower you to be a successful caregiver. And if you can ever find what you're looking for, as Mary Sue said, we're here for you. Just let me know through the contact form on the site, or reply to any email I send you, and I'll help you out. If I don't have the information, I always help you find it. And also, if you haven't signed up for future event notifications, so we got a question from, try to sneak it in real quick. Mary Sue, have you ever written songs with your dementia friends?
You know, only what I kind of call zipper songs, where you change the words. So, you know, so only in that way. Like, one of my favorites is If I Knew You Were Coming, I'd have baked a cake. Baked a cake, baked a cake. And so I always say, well, what would you do before somebody was coming over? And they say, make your bed. Or one guy said, I'd lock the door. So only in that way. I think it's a great thing to do. I'm not a gifted songwriter, so I cheat by using melodies and songs that are already there. Yep, that's not cheating. That's just the folk process.
That's leveraging. So I'm going to pop up an offer as we're up on the hour. Pretty good timing. So as I was mentioning, if you haven't signed up to be notified about future events, the offer should pop up on the right-hand side there. And so keep your eyes open for those emails, where we're going to share the recording of this event and future events. And so thank you very much, Mary Sue, and to our audience for that very awesome webinar class there. And thanks for everybody joining us today. And we're going to continue to have these conversations to empower people who are fighting back against dementia. So goodbye, and have an empowered day.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody.